Hello and welcome back to the tutorial related to T-SQL and SQL queries. And in this video, we will be going through the modification of the data, that is the insert, update, and delete data in the database. So we will be going through the insert queries. We will also update the data in the table as well as delete and merge the data based on multiple tables. So in many cases, data analysts and business users simply need to retrieve data from database for reporting. However, when we are developing an application or even doing some complex analysis, you may need to insert, modify, or delete data. So what we will be covering is inserting the data, and Transact-SQL provides data to be inserted in multiple ways. We will be going through the insert statement through the query, as well as we'll be going through the insert and select statement, and select into, as well as other ways to insert the data. We will also be going through updation of the data by updating, which means that we will be going through the update command, as well as the update using some parameters as well. And we will be going through the delete data. We'll be using the delete command, as well as the truncate and the table itself. So let's get started. I'm as If you're following along, we are using the same AdventureWorks database in the SQL Azure Data Studio. We can use it in SQL Server Management Studio as well. But for this purpose of this video, I'm using Azure Data Studio. Follow along with the same playlist, so you will know how to download and install the Azure Data Studio or SQL Server Management Studio. So we have connected to the AdventureWorks database. We are going through we have opened up a new query, and we will be using insert statement. So the basic syntax of insert is like this, and we use the insert command, insert keyword, and then we'll use insert into, and then we will use table name. So that table name, we can have an optional column list, and then table name, column name, we can do specific column like product ID, uh, product name. So this is just for the purpose of examples. And then we will use values. This is a keyword that will be used. And then we can use the sequence that is mentioned in the column order, or the sequence that is measured in the column name. So this means that, ABC. So this means that this is the uh, insert basic syntax of insert statement. So in order to move forward and do some practical aspect, I prepared a query that inserts first. It will What we will do is we will use a create table query, where we will prepare some data, or sorry, we'll define a table, and then we will insert values to those data points. So we are using the create table in the sales LT in the sales LT schema. So we are preparing a call log table that specifies a log of calling that was done by the salesperson, with the phone number and the notes and everything. So let's create the table name. So let's create a table called call log in the sales LT schema, and we will be writing a command called create table, and then we'll specify a schema. So sales LT dot call log, and then we will open up the parenthesis, and after that we will specify the columns and define column. So call ID, and this is integer, identity, primary key. We will go through, I will explain the details about what the keywords where you're using, like identity and primary key. So primary key is the sole key column of this table, and it's specified as it's not null. So this is one column, the other one is call time, and this will be date time. and it will also be not null. And we are specifying a keyword called default get date. So if this is inserted as null value, then a blank, then the current date and time will be specified. Salesperson name is the next column, and we are using nvarchar 256, and this is also not null. And lastly, what we'll use is we'll use notes, that is also nvarchar, and this is using, we are using max, and can have null as well. So these are the four columns that we have specified. One is the call ID, call time, salesperson, and the notes. We can also specify like which customer we have called. So customer ID integer and not null. And we are also specifying phone number, that is called phone number and varchar, and that is 25 characters. We will also use not null. Okay. So these are the columns that are specified. And if we look at here in the table and run this query and then refresh this, there is a table called CallLog. In that CallLog, there is a column primary key, call time, salesperson, customer ID, phone number, and notes. So this is the query related to creation of the table. After that, what we will use is we'll just use select all from SalesLT.CallLog, and let's try to execute this. And this is showing the columns but without the values. Now what we'll do is we'll insert the values, and we'll just insert one value, for example, and we will use the column, we'll use the keyword insert into SalesLT.CallLog. And there are two things that are specified, whether you can use column names here, but if you don't want to use column name, then you need to remember the order that you are passing the values in. And we will use this values keyword, and then we will use the same number in terms of the values, the same values in terms of the column names. If we will be inserting the call time, salesperson, and the other customer ID or phone number and notes, but we're not inserting the call ID because it is an identity column as well as the primary key. So primary key is the key column that is that gives the unique value. The identity column is automatically starts off with a seed first row value as 1, and then incremented based on the next insert values of the uh, data in those column. So I'm using 2024 dash 03 dash 06, or sorry 06 dash 03, and T is the time, and we are using 1530, and then we will specify um, sales 101. This is a salesperson name, and then we will specify customer ID. Remember, this was also a varchar, so we are just specifying 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then we will be inserting a note, and that note is called, sorry, I'll use the best case, called the customer, he didn't answer. Okay, so let's give it a try. So I'm just selecting this query and then running this. So it says column name or number of supplied values does not match table definitions. This means that we are using, um, let's go to the table definition, or maybe just select this and run. And you see call ID, call time, salesperson, customer ID, phone number, and notes. So we have inserted call time, we have inserted salesperson, we have inserted customer ID, and we have inserted notes. So instead of the number, I forgot to mention, um, which I deliberately did forget, in terms of mentioning the phone number. So 456895 dash. Okay, so this is the number, and now let's see if it will execute or not. Let's run this query, and it's saying conversion fail to date time from string. So we need to specify a complete date query, and we need to specify, or what you call it, the complete format of the date, and let's see if it will execute. So now see, one row affected. So what we have done is we need to this format needs to have in a it's a very hard case format. The date needs to be there, and following along with T as well as the 24-hour format along with the seconds. So if you don't specify a second in the date, it will not render the date time in that. If you forget to mention the date time, it will insert the current date time. So this means that this row has been inserted into this call log table. Let's try to execute this and see whether the data is there or not. So if you are running here, so it says call ID 2, call time, salesperson, customer ID, phone number, and notes is also there. So this data and this field has been inserted, and we are able to insert all the values related to the data, what is required in the call log. Next, what we'll do is we'll utilize this definition of saying whether this allows null, and we'll leave that as null. We will also use this facility of default value, and we will specify what is the we will not specify a date time field, and we'll not specify the notes itself. So what we'll do is here is in we'll just copy paste this last query. So instead we will use default keyword, then we can specify 278967546, and then 000. We have changed this, and then we will insert null value. So this, if I insert this means one row affected. If I use select statement, it has two rows. So sales to 7 null, and this one, and notes value as null, plus this is giving me a current date and time related to, I mean, it's kind of a timestamp there. But in order to specifically enter columns with the values in the column, we cannot, I mean, in this scenario we have to use default and null to insert all the values in the column. If we, for example, delete this null, then it might give an error, like, this is the number of field and supply values does not match the table definition. So in order to do that, what we will do is you'll copy this insert statement again, and then we will specify in the parentheses the columns. So we'll specify salesperson name, we'll specify customer ID, we'll specify phone number. And then this definition, now instead of following the table definition, these value, if anything that is after value will follow this definition in this order. So salesperson name, we are specifying sales 3, the customer ID is 123124, and phone number is 323464 nearly. And then we are specifying only 3 values in that. And if we run this insert statement, this column order will be followed at the of this definition. And if you see here, one row is affected, and if I execute this sales select static, this will insert the records of salesperson with customer ID and all the stuff specifically for the columns. Okay, so This is just insertion of one record at a time. We can have multiple records at a time as well. We can have a comma separated multiple values that can be inserted as well. So for example, this is 4. I'm just following the order, but the numbers, the real-time data is different. So 456, and this is one thing, 111, and this is 222. So what I'm doing here is I'm inserting 3 records now, more. So we can specify this as 6 as well, because we have specified already 000, and this is 333. So let's insert this, and if you now it will say 3 rows affected, so it will be 3 rows added to this, multiple rows in a sense, to add it to the data itself. So see, 000 means 0 and then other stuff has been added in the sequence as well. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll use that calling ID as an identity column to perform some operations on that one. So there is a function in SQL that is called scope underscore identity. In this function, and there is also one more thing that this is called ident current. And if I insert this, and sorry, I need to specify table name here. So ident current SalesLT dot call log, sorry, dot call log, and let's check this. So this means this scope identity is 7, and the identity current pointer of that identity is that is the latest call ID is 7 as well. So now what we'll do is, if we want to insert, let's copy this, and we'll use the insert function. We'll use call ID and only this. And remember, this is on 7th number. So what I'm doing is I'm inserting a call identity 8, and then we'll see how it goes. So it is saying cannot insert explicit value for identity column in the table when identity insert is set to off. So this explains that we can insert identity, but we need to set identity insert as on. So we'll specify set identity insert, and then sales lt dot call log, and then on. We'll use on. So what we'll do is now is we'll insert identity on, and then we'll insert values from column call ID, salesperson, then customer ID, and then phone number, and then we will add some values. So this is we'll add, for example, 15, then sales 1, sales 01, and then customer ID is 11 2, and then the number is 926 555 0158. Okay, and then we'll run this code together to execute, and it is now successfully inserted the identity value of it. And if I run this select statement, it has overridden the identity value to be inserted in that as a 15th number. But now what is this identity insert is on, and the best practice is that after running this query we will off this identity insert. If I try to run this code again, then say that volume violation of primary key constraint. So we cannot insert duplicate value into the sales log. So that is the primary key constraint. Primary key is a unique value that specify the definition of the table. All right, so we'll select this and we'll turn this insert as off, and then if we execute the insert command, it will say that this has been turned off, and you cannot insert the value related to the identity column. Okay, so this is done with the identity column. This the small thing that we can do here is as well is that we can insert the column So insert the values in the sales log, and in that, uh, what do you call it? Let's copy this first. And if you want to insert this using the select statement as well, so we can use the select statement from other table, existing table, to insert values in the new columns as well. So for example, we'll what we will use is, we'll just delete this. So we can use select salesperson. Sorry, first let's do it from SalesLT.Customer, and then we will use select salesperson, comma customer ID, and comma phone, and comma. So the details, so this is phone numbers, so three columns matching three things. So what we'll do is, we'll run this code, and it will specify the values related to the customer. But if we insert this without the where clause, then it will, what you call it, it will execute, it will insert all the values of the customer data. So it is important to specify company name or customer ID. For example, we will use customer ID equal, let's insert 11. So now we'll check the customer ID. So this will be inserted in the sales call log column. So we can specify a select statement, and then insert it into another table based on the column mapping. So this is one row affected. So if we use the select statement here, and then execute this, you see the last value that is inserted with the identity column as 16 is moved, and it's inserted from the other, what do you call it, the customer ID statement. So this is, these are the some of the variations of the insert command. We can also use a select statement to insert value into a new table. So for example, if we use this select statement, select this, I'll copy this whole details. So if I'm using this select statement of salesperson customer ID, and for example, if I want to insert few customers, like customer ID 15, 16. So let us do three customers. So this is these are the three customers which is specified. So 15 is not a customer, so I'll specify 17, for example. So this will insert, and it's good to check the data. So it's just having two customers, so let's keep it with two customers. So that is a trial and error thing that we are doing. And so we are separating out the two customers and inserting them into another table. So what we'll do is, when you specify a column, then you will specify an into statement, and then sales lt dot new customer. So this is a new table. Make sure this table is not existing in the existing schema, or the table or the database, because into statement creates a new table, and that new table is insert as the value is inserted automatically from this. And this will also automatically create a new structure as well. So these values will be available in the new customer table. So once you run this, two rows affected, and now if you see, we have a new table that is called new customer here. So this new customer, let's select the values from there, and then execute this. So it has exactly same values as the new customer query had. So these are the select into statement that it creates a new table or insert values by creating a new table in the database. So after doing the insert query, we will now focus on doing the updating data. And updating the data is to modify the existing records in the table using the update statement. Um, So what we'll start off with now is, as you know, we have a call log table. So we'll start off with select direct from SalesLT.CallLog, and we'll have a look at it, how it works. Call log. So we've got this information about the call log. Now we need to update this table. In order to update this, we will use the update statement. So for example, we will use that, we will update the notes table with wherever there is null value, where we will use some text. So the update query starts with update keyword, and then the schema and table name. So this means that this is updating. Now we use a keyword called set, and then the field name. So in this case, we are using notes. So set note equals, and then we are saying NA, for example. And then if we run this query, then it will apply to every document, or sorry, every record. And we have to be specific as well to, for example, giving an identity number or a call ID number or customer ID number. So we will have to use the where clause. So now we use where, and now the same or other queries, or other table column name, and then we'll mention is null. So this is the basic update statement. This is the basic update statement that says update table name, set column name as this value, where this value or this column name is applying a condition. So now what we'll do is we'll run this query, and this says 5 rows affected. So if we rerun this statement, now null value has been replaced by NA. So this is a basic update statement to give and update the existing records. So as I said earlier, if we use this update query by itself without the where condition, now see what will happen. If I run this statement, it will affect all the records here without the condition. So everything is NA here. See, so now so we have to be careful in using the conditions and applying some specific conditions, so that not all the record gets affected. Similar thing, what we'll do is we'll use salesperson, for example, person equal blank, comma phone number equal blank. So if I run this query, and then if I run this select statement again, it will keep it as blank. So that is the reason why we are saying that we need to use the um, uh, where clause to be specific, rather than the effects to be done on the entire table. So we can use the update clause using the select statement as well, or maybe, I mean, linking the other table as well. So this is another query that says update, and the same table. Now we are updating this table from another table, that is that is the customer table. So we'll use the same keyword set, and this salesperson name equals um some value, and this phone number equals some value. So this is the exact same statement that I've copied, but now we'll use a from clause. So now from clause will be SalesLT.Customer, and we'll give this as CU as an alias. Now we can replace these values from the customer table using that salesperson, and using that cu dot phone. So there's a phone field here. So now what happening is that updating a table based on and the field or the column name based on another table. It is basically an inbuilt select mention here. So I mean, so we can use that, and then we have to give the where clause. cu dot customer id equals sales lt sales lt schema dot call log dot customer ID here. So now what we'll do is we'll execute this statement, and it says 9 rows affected. We will rerun this select statement. So now the salesperson name as well as the phone number has been updated. So generally, we have done insert statement, we have done the update statement. The third one is the delete statement, and this is just as a insert statement. It's delete statement. It's contrary to the insert statement, that insert statement adds a row, while delete statement remove the entire rows or a complete specific rows. So basically, the basic syntax of delete is delete. Sorry, not select. Delete from table. Table means that we're taking this one as an example with this table name, and we have to use the where clause, where call id equals 20. So this is the last record, this is there. So if we just run this query, it will say 1 row affected, and then I will do this select statement. We see last one is gone. So we can use this delete statement in order to delete specific records based on the conditions, as well as we can have some things that are that records which we don't want. The best practice that is being used in the operational environment is that you don't delete stuff, you just change the status of the record in order to maintain the integrity and other aspects of the data itself. So this is basically a delete statement. However, if you want to delete the entire table or remove the existence of the table, then you use a truncate statement. So truncate statement is generally used to delete all the entire existence of the table, not only the data but also the table itself. I need to fix the spelling here. So it's truncate. There you go. So this is basically, this will truncate the entire call log table. So see this command completed successfully. If I search for this table now, it will run a blank query, and then it will show up the table here, but it will not. It will remove the entire rows of the table. Sorry, truncate statement again. Cut the previous one. So truncate statement basically, it's a delete statement to remove all the rows in the table. So if you use truncate table, then the sales, for example, the sales and color, it will delete all the rows to be affected. And delete all the rows that are there in the table. Some of the use cases are we will be inserting some products, we will be updating the products, we'll be deleting some products as well, and then we can do all the stuff related to insert, update, delete, and we'll also can you utilize to do an identity or identity column, or reseed that identity as well. This means that we can have a turning off the identity, the scope identity function, and then giving the another reseeding option to update the identity column. If you're watching me for the first time, please don't hesitate to subscribe and like. Also, I would appreciate if you'll provide your feedback so that I can improve. Thank you so much.